Saff. I run a business called Saff Mastering here in Chicago. I've been doing mastering on and off for the past 8 years, since about 2000, and I've been full-time doing mastering for the past 18 months. The business started out as a part-time venture that I did in my spare time and has evolved into a full-time business, and I'm now happy to say I'm booking several weeks in advance. So the business has really taken off in the last couple of years, and I'm excited to be doing the work. Selecting monitors for this room, which I don't know how much you can see via this angle. I have a very small room, probably just about as small as it can be and still be good enough for mastering. And it's not a problem-free room, but selecting monitors for this room has not been easy. And originally I started out with a pair of small satellite monitors, just two-way monitors made by Dynaudio. And they were great, and I definitely needed a subwoofer to flesh out the very lowest octave with those. But ultimately really wanted to move to something far more detailed and much closer to full range. But it's very hard to get full range speakers that will work in a space this size. So when I learned about the PMC IB1s, I got very excited because it's a relatively small form factor for a nearly full range monitor with excellent bass extension, given that they're really not that big. I mean, normally mastering speakers are frequently they're much larger, and there are a few models that you see in a lot of mastering studios that would never fit in this room. Or if they did fit, I would have to sit sufficiently far back from them that the room would just be overwhelmed by them, and there wouldn't be a comfortable way for me to sit in here with clients at the same time. So these speakers are really ideal. They're three-way speakers with a tweeter, a dome-shaped mid-range that's extraordinarily detailed. Anything harsh in the mid-range immediately jumps to the ear, which is very helpful when identifying spiky or harsh mid-range frequencies. And a very unique, flat, hard, piston-like woofer that only PMC makes, and they only make it for a few of their models, including this one. And the neat thing about that design is that because it is a very hard, unlike the paper or fabric cones that you often see in other speaker designs, the hard, flat, piston-like woofer in the IB1s is not prone to break up at high volumes. Not that I typically monitor at high volumes, but if something has a lot of low information, the woofers can work very hard, and they're exceptionally difficult to distort. And so you can get very deep, detailed, precise low end without any distortion whatsoever, even at high volumes. They're really remarkable in that regard. The other thing they have is what's called a transmission line design, which means there's a channel kind of working its way through the back of the speaker, just an air channel, that then empties out through the little grills in the bottom of the speaker. And this adds a little bit more heft in the subwoofer range. It almost acts as a mini subwoofer within the speaker itself. So the bass extension is far greater than the actual drivers in the unit would allow for. And they're very close to full range. Not quite. They roll off right around 40-35 hertz. And in a mastering environment, you really need to hear down to about 20, because there's sometimes problems down there. There's very rarely music down there, but there are sometimes problems down there. And so it's really good to be able to hear that. So I do augment these speakers with a subwoofer for that very last octave, just to make sure that I can hear it and hear any problems down there, like rumble, or say somebody kicks a mic stand during a live performance, that kind of thing. There's no missing it with the subwoofer. Probably wouldn't miss it without, but I like to have the safety of having that. But these speakers are about as good as it's going to get for this space. But if I move to a larger space, I would keep them. I think they're really the speakers I'm going to live with for life, because I'm really impressed with the detail, and yeah, what you want from a mastering monitor is that great sounding music sounds good, and bad sounding music immediately sounds awful. You really want to hear the flaws before you hear the music, so that you can take the flaws out and then enjoy it. And that's really the goal of mastering. When you get into serious tweaking, it's all about taking out the bad and leaving only the good. And with these speakers, I really feel like I get much closer to that than I ever have with any other setup I've had.